Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to start new lesson of your ICSE class 8 syllabus. So lesson 2, I already uploaded video on lesson 1 regarding Renaissance, era of Renaissance. So now in this video I'm going to explain about the era of Reformation. So most commonly era of Reformation. So how it started, what about the meaning of Reformation, so introduction regarding Reformation and all. So what about the causes to rise the concept of Reformation? This everything I will explain it in very simple language. So I hope you can understand that very easily and it will become beneficial for your exam preparation. So I request everyone to subscribe my channel, share it to your friends, those who are preparing or studying class 8 of ICSE syllabus. Together I am doing class 9th ICSE class 9 syllabus and ICSE class 10th history syllabus also. So everything I am uploading in my channel. So please suggest your friend to visit to my channel and watch that all the videos what I uploaded in my channel. Okay, let's begin the class now. So first I mentioned meaning and introduction of Reformation. So what is the meaning and introduction about the Reformation movement? So I mentioned that this was one of the religious movement in Europe during the 16th century. So when that Reformation began in that European region means in the time of 16th century. So what about that aim of Reformation movement? See, it aimed to reform the Christian church, remove the corruption. So we discussed regarding that. On that time, Pope authorities, church authorities, totally it became corrupted. They were dominating over the common people and all. That's why this Reformation movement has begun in the part of European region. So what about the aim or intention of that? Means they decided to remove the corruptive activities or corruption activities in the Christian church on that time, and also it challenged the authority of the Pope. So Pope means nothing, religious head in church, correct? A Christian church and all. So they challenged to the authority of the Pope because Pope was also totally corrupted during the part of that these all centuries. That's why they decided to challenge the authority of the Pope or working or domination over the common people by the religious head. So it encouraged the people to study religious teachings independently. See, in the time of Renaissance, I think we discussed that invention of printing press. So what about the concept of that invention of printing press? So they started to print many different copies of the religious books and all. So very good example, Bible. They translated to the part of regional languages and printed many different copies of Bible. They distributed it to the common people. So each and everyone started to read the Bible and they were getting idea regarding what they mentioned, what about the religious concept mentioned inside of the Bible itself. That's why it encouraged the people to study the religious teachings independently. Means at present means on that time, in the time of 16th century, people were not depending on the church authorities. They started to read that, study the religious teachings, religious book independently because of the contribution of printing press. So it led to rise the Protestant churches. So see, in that Christian only two different category has created. One is Catholic based and another one is Protestant based, correct? So Protestant churches also created rise on the time of the Reformation here. So it brought religious, political, social, economic changes in Europe. So during the Reformation movement, we can observe that a lot of different changes occurred in the part of society. So religious changes, political changes, social changes, economic changes. So totally lot of different changes. So Reformation means that itself, religious movement, religious changes and all during the 16th century and also in the part of European regions. So next one, we can discuss about that causes of the Reformation. So why that Reformation began in European region, especially in the time of the 16th century, correct? So I mentioned a lot of different causes here and most important also I have selected here. One is corruption within the Catholic Church. I already told you Catholic Church was totally corrupted on that time. Even Pope also, religious head also totally corrupted. So heavy taxes imposed by the church authorities. So for whom it here? So they were imposing heavy tax on the common people on that time. So common people suffer struggle due to the part of imposition of heavy taxes on that time. So political conflict between the rulers and the pope. So at the same time, when that pope has taken the religious head, authority of the religious head in church, Catholic church and all, at the same time some of the rulers were also ruling in the part of European regions. That's why on that time some of the conflict has created between rulers and the religious head. And another one is growth of nationalism in Europe. So nationalism concept, patriotism concept. See earlier how they treated that Catholic church means that's one of the superior authority in all over the European region like that. But when these all reformation, when these all renaissance changes started to occur in the society, nationalism concept started to grow in here. So nationalism concept means nothing, patriotism. They consider their nation is one of the superior than remaining others, correct? So they started to neglect the church authorities. So spread of education also considered as another one of the important things. So one by one we can discuss about it here. So first causes I mentioned that evils of the Catholic Church. See, what about that evils of Catholic Church means? Church officials often live luxurious life. See, luxurious life means they were collecting tax from the common people. The tax amount completely spent their personal life, their personal luxurious life and all. Most commonly collected tax must be spent to the welfare of common people. That's one of the rule here, right? So other than that spending that collected tax amount to the welfare of common people, they were utilizing that amount for their luxurious life. So this also called it as one of the evils of the Catholic Church. So many neglected the religious duties. So many different officials, those who are working under the part of Catholic Church and all, they completely neglected the religious duties. So religious duties means, see, as a religious head or the member of that church authorities and all, they have some of the responsibility to manage, no? So on that time, based on that leading luxurious life, totally they neglected their religious duties. So next one, sale of indulgences became common. See, what about that indulgences? Forgiveness, letter of forgiveness we are calling, right? If any one of the person, he committed in some of the crime means, for that crimes, they are issuing some of the certificates, some of the forgiveness certificates. So one of the person, by paying huge money to the Pope or the church authorities, he purchased means they used to or they are going to forgive his crime or the offenses on that time. So this concept we called it as indulgences. So by selling that indulgences, they started to gather huge money on that time. People were asked to pay money for the forgiveness sins. See, for example, some of the offenses, sins and all, they are issuing the forgiveness certificates and all. So church officers, sale of church simony we called it. So they started to sell the church officers and all. By selling that church officers, they started to collect the money. So next one, nepotism. Nepotism means nothing, favoring relatives means most commonly that authorities only transferring in between of the relatives and all, in between of that families, only reserved to the specific families and all. So that we call it as nepotism, correct? So it was also very common on in the church authorities and also these practices reduce the papal faith in church. So based on these all the evils of the Catholic Church, people started to lose the faith in the church authority. That's why we consider it as evils of the Catholic Church became one of the important causes to rise the Reformation movement. So next one, economic burden. So most commonly, correct, economic burden. Why? Because that people were church authorities were imposing heavy tax on the common people. People had to pay the tithes. So tithes means nothing, some percentage of their income they should pay it to the church authorities on that time. So 1/10 of the person's income compulsorily paid to the church authorities. So some of the additional fees also charged on the baptisms, even marriage, some of the religious functions and all, correct? Personal based functions, ceremonies, they were collecting the fees on that time. So payments were required for funerals and also religious ceremonies. So poor people suffered the most from this all financial burden. Resentment against the church was increased on that time. So most commonly, economic burden on common people causes to rise the concept of Reformation. So next one, Rulers' resentment. So what about that rulers' resentment against to the church authorities? So king disliked the Pope's interference, the political affairs. See that Pope and church authorities, actually earlier it was reserved for the religious matters, right? So later they started to involve in the part of that, interfere in the part of the political affair. Actually political system completely is reserved to the kings and that dynasties. So again here also they are involving, means kings started to dislike the popes and the church authorities. That's why that rulers resentment against the church authority. Even rulers also, king also, they started to raise a voice against the church authorities on that time. So rulers wanted greater control over their kingdom. That's why, so that they didn't want any other interfere in the part of the political matters and all. That's why they opposed the transfer of wealth to Rome. See, in that kingdom, wealth completely they started to transfer it to the church authorities on that time. But they, that rulers or the kings were not interested to transfer the wealth to the Rome on that time. That's why they started to oppose this. So next one. The rise of powerful nation state. So what about that nation state? See, a strong nation state emerged during, not merged, emerged during in Europe. National rulers wanted complete authority within their territories, means they didn't want to come under the church authorities and all. They decided to rise the powerful kingdoms or powerful nation states on that time. Nationalism encouraged the loyalty to the country. See, nationalism concept, patriotism, and they were not loyal to the church authorities at present day. They started to loyal to the, or loyalty to the country or patriotism. People began placing national interest above the church interest, and also they considered that country's interest, interest as one of the superior than the church interest and all. That's why the power of the Pope gradually started to decline. So when that rulers and some other people, they decided to frame the powerful nation state, most commonly church authorities decreased on that time. So next one, anti-church movement, right? So what about that anti-church movement? See, anti-church movement means nothing against to the church authority. So many scholars criticize the corruption of, say, they use that written sources as one of the media to criticize the church authorities on that time. Through their writings, they started to reveal the corruption activities of the church authorities and all. Humanists demanded moral and the religious reform. So humanists, they were not given preference to the God or something, religious belief. They has given preference to the human beings, common people and all, right? They started to the moral and the religious reforms and also. Erasmus, he promoted the education and personal faith. So totally mass education has become one of the most important field on that time. So Martin Luther, he opposed the sale of indulgences, forgiveness certificates. So his protest started the Protestant Reformation. So this movement spread rapidly across the European regions. So till here I explained about the meaning of Reformation and what about the introduction to the Reformation movement and all. So what about the corruptive activities done in Catholic Church and all, and also causes to rise the concept of Reformation. So next topic is about the Martin Luther and Protestant movement. So in next video I am going to explain about that. So till here what I explained in simple words, simple sentence and all, in simple language. So I hope this is clearly beneficial and understand for you. So thank you everyone. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.